just made us spin for years.
Yeah.
Because I was anticipating you going, and it was like we were just off, and like I could see you raise, and I tried to get up there, let you gather it back up.
That's all good.
I had no help either, so as soon as we got separated, it was just like, stop.
Yeah.
And we are joined by our 5th and 2nd place finishers here in the 20th annual Roseanne 300 from Auto Club Speedway. Joined on our right are Daniel Hemrick, driver of the number 21 South Point Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing, and Justin Allgaier, driver of the number 7 Hellman Chevrolet for Junior Motorsports. Gentlemen, it was a hard-fought battle all through the race today, especially for the Xfinity regulars. Talk about you guys' race today, especially that mid-race battle between all you guys.
Yeah, for us, it was a matter of kind of chopping wood all day and trying to get our South Point Hotel Casino Chevrolet better each and every run. Danny Stockton made a great call to get our adjustments done early and give up track position. I think we fell back to 12th from 7th or 8th there just to make sure we got our adjustments in. And after that, it was just clawing and trying to get back to trying to get back to clean air, trying to get track position back. And we did slowly but surely throughout every cycle and every pit stop. So just proud of our guys. We came out here on the West Coast and had 3 top 10s, a 6, a 6, and a 5th here to cap it off. So proud of our effort. We got to keep doing what we're doing here at the racetrack and putting ourselves in position, and our day will come. And I'm proud of our effort, like I said, over not only today but over the last 3 or 4 weeks. And the racing was crazy. Justin and I were racing there hard at times. We kind of raced around that 5th, 9th place deal all day. And the race when you get back there is actually more intense because it seems like whenever you try to side draft somebody or somebody side drafts you, here comes 3 more with runs. So it makes it tough. Actually, the further you get up, the easier it is, it seems like, to maintain. So just proud of our effort and how we were able to get to our best running position of the day there at the end and maintain and come on with the top 5.
And you hit the wall.
And I hit the wall.
They just showed it, yeah.
I was trying to forget that part.
For us, kind of the same story. We worked really hard today. Felt like yesterday in practice we had a really, really strong Hellman Chevy. And unfortunately, when the race started, not that it was bad by any means, but just some of the balance things that we felt like we were really good with yesterday in practice. Today, with the conditions being a little bit different, we needed to work on a little. And Jason Burdett made a great call there to pit there towards the end and put tires on and catch the 22 off sequence, which we were kind of hoping that it would take him a little bit longer to get back up towards the front to have to battle with him. But all in all, just a solid day. We had a rough pit stop on the last pit stop. But the guys were lights out on pit road all day, and honestly, it put us in a great position to get up the inside and be able to make some spots on that last restart. And the 22 was definitely the class of field today. I think they had everybody covered. So hats off to those guys. But as Daniel said, our West Coast swing has been great. We have a 2 seconds and a third. So really been chopping away at it. Wish we had a win, but all in all, I followed that 22 car 2 weeks in a row now. It's kind of getting a little bit depressing. But anytime you're up towards the front like that, it's always a good day.
Start with Lee in the back. There.
Mm-hmm.
No, behind.
Justin, you told Eddie DeHaan if he could get you cleared, you could get to the front. Was that just wishful thinking with the 22, or did you really think you had something?
No, I think at that point, if we could have gotten by the 22, I thought we had a shot at maybe driving away from them a little bit, just because the sequence on tires. But obviously, once they were able to be on even tires or a little bit better tires, they were the class of the field. We just needed to try and maximize. When they were kind of off a little bit and behind on sequence, we needed to try and maximize that and get the most speed that we could. He did a great job on that last restart, which I felt like for us, I could run a lap or two extremely fast, and then I would slow down just a little bit, and then we would speed back up towards the middle to end of a run. So, for me, I knew that I needed to get by these guys in a lap and a half, or I was going to struggle to get by them. And so for me, it was just a matter of if I could clear him, I knew I could get myself a little bit. Clean air was so important today, and just trying to be the most forward thinking that you could be at that point.
Go with Jerry next.
Jordan Kicking the Tires.net and PRN. Justin, for you and for you, Daniel, you guys obviously admit that Joey was the class of the field and you're tired of running behind him, but you guys are also competing for points. And how frustrating is it to know that you didn't get those points to this is a championship on the line here at the end of the year?
That 22 is still running for a championship. Whoever drives that car, they're still going for an owner's championship. from my standpoint, and I don't know if Daniel agrees, I enjoy those guys running with us. I still do. They're obviously really good, but the 22 car was the best car today. Joey even said it in his post race interview out on the front straightaway that you don't get cars that are that good very often, and he knew that was a great car, and if he had that good of a car tomorrow, he'd do the same thing. They hit the adjustments right, they did all the things right, and we had a good car. It just wasn't quite as good as their car was, and I think today. Whoever was going to be driving that car, if they hit it like they did and had that feel that a driver was looking for, they would have been equally as good. And I think there's going to be some guys tomorrow. It wouldn't surprise me if the 4 or the 42 are that way tomorrow in the Cup race, just looking at practice speed. So, it's definitely interesting, but I'm still a fan of those guys coming and running.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Justin said, I agree 100%. I heard Joey make the same comments about how good his race car was, and he just didn't want to mess it up. And somewhere along the lines in our careers, we've all had cars that way, and you want to take advantage of that. So, we have, he may have taken away the stage points or this or that, however you want to look at it. But at the end of the day, like I said, they're running for Owners Championship. We're running for both. And they were just better than us today. That's all there was to it. I'm a big fan of racing with those guys. And the good thing for us is there are going to be times, we go out to Iowa, we go off, do our road course racing, or other standalone events, Kentucky, or wherever it is. Those guys are making us better. When they beat us like they beat us today, we know we've got some serious work to do, each organization, not only for his, but ours as well. And it makes us better down the road.
We'll go over to Kathy Brown next.
Kathy Brown, Pity Outside the Box. Congratulations, Justin, on your highest place finish here at Auto Club.
I didn't even know where the media center was. I won't lie to you. I've not had good finishes this year, so thank you.
And I was just, you mentioned the 22. You're getting sick and tired of running behind it. But being here at Auto Club, did you learn something today that maybe you can put in the back of your mind for next year when you come here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, I had a great battle with my teammate today, Elliott Sadler, at the end. I learned, I would say, from about halfway on, once we started to get the balance where I felt really comfortable, whether it was the 22, the 00, the 1, all guys that I raced around a lot today, I learned a lot. And I've had good cars and I've had good runs here, never really seemingly come to fruition at the end of the race. Normally I get stuck on a bad lane on a restart and I end up 10th after we ran good all day, So today was a good day to kind of overcome some of those battles. I always love coming here though. It's a fantastic racetrack. I wish we had more that drove like this, slick and slow. And I say slow, but we're still 200 miles an hour. But you just feel like you can do anything in the car, and you really feel like you can make a difference inside the car. And so today was a good day for that.
Any more questions down here in the media center? And we'll go up to the terrace box. Any questions up there?
No questions.
Okay, that's fine.
Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, kicking tires on PRN. I asked this on Friday of a couple of the other drivers about, we've been talking a lot about grassroots racing and lower tiers and things of that nature. How do you feel about drivers that go down and they want an appearance fee for that type of, they're talking about grassroots racing, but they demand an appearance fee to show up? Does that bother you guys at all? Do you race for appearance fees, or do you even care?
I don't know about Justin, but I know he goes and runs his dirt car all the time. I go run as many super late miles as I can, and I've never really got paid to go short track racing, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, if that's what they get, then more power to them, but those guys are also usually end up winning the race. You see Harvick or Kyle, whoever goes back and runs those shows, they're doing it with top-tier teams and putting themselves in good situations, but even if you took the money away, that's all fine and good, but I'm confident those guys, the racers at heart they are, they would still go if that fee wasn't there. So that's what I truly believe, and we just want to race. We don't care what it is or what the price is. Well, obviously, we're fortunate and blessed to be able to go do what we do and love and we're passionate about, and we do it for our jobs and make a living doing it, but that's not what it's about. For me, Daniel's right. I think from my standpoint, we put a dirt car together to go back and have fun. We've spent probably more money on the dirt car than we should, and there's still dirt car teams that spend more than we do. But on the flip side of it, I go back and do it because I have fun with it. And we've had stuff where people offer, to pay or to
comp the pit passes or crazy things like that. But for the most part, I think all of us would still go. And we're still going to plan on going to these races.
Yeah, well, that's no different than what's happening in our sport. I mean, back in the day when people would, cover tire bills or hotels, I mean, it's happened at every level. So it's just magnified because it's those guys going back to do it. But I feel like a lot of guys are getting help throughout the country. Yeah,
I would agree with that. And you know what? The one thing that I will say right now is we have an amazing short track kind of revolution going. I would say short track racing right now is as strong as it's ever been. In different parts of the country and in different types of cars too. That's the kind of the crazy part. In the Midwest, the obviously open wheel stuff is really, really growing. UMP modifieds like I run are really growing. East Coast stuff, the asphalt super late model stuff's really good. West Coast, everything. K&N obviously has been those guys. East and West this year is going to be great to watch. A lot of new up and coming guys and gals that are going to be spectacular. K&N West has got a dirt race. I'll be honest, I don't have a ride, but I'll throw it out there. I would drive one in a heartbeat. I think it's going to be great, and I love ARCA runs on the dirt races. They've got a lot of short tracks, so there's so many ways to get connected anymore. That yes, I think you can look at it like these guys are getting an appearance fee, but if it's drawing people into the short track community that may not go, and it keeps that growing, I don't know if it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. And just to go on top of what he just said, is those majority of those folks that go because of that driver was there, they're going to have such a good time because of the short track feel and their experience that they're going to come back the following week when that driver's not there. And that's what's cool to see throughout all divisions right now, I feel like.
Any more questions for Daniel and Justin? Nope.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
appreciate it, guys.
All right, and we are now joined by the race-winning team from the 2018 Roseanne 300. We have Joey Logano, race-winning driver of the number 22 Discount Tire Ford from Team Penske, as well as crew chief Brian Wilson. This is Joey's 29th victory in 172 NASCAR Xfinity Series races. So, Joey, thoroughly dominant performance throughout the day today. Excellent car. What was it that made you so good throughout the race today?
Oh, man, the car was really good. Total team effort, though. Yeah, I was talking to Wilson afterwards, and even my crew chief on the other side, Todd Gordon, and I said, man, if we don't win this race tomorrow, we really screwed something up. And it's one of those races and one of those cars that it's so good that you just hope that you don't screw something up and don't win the race when you have a car like that. And Pickard did an excellent job. Every time we came down pit road, we came out where we were. And we were able to have good strategy, good pit stops, and a quick car. So everything went as planned, and we were able to be here in victory lane. So it's nice when you have a car that's that dominant and you're able to win the race. It stings a lot when you don't win a race and your car's like that. So it's more of a relief than anything right now.
Awesome. So we'll start with Lee and then Reed in the back.
Brian, was there ever a chance when you second-guessed leaving him out there and everybody, coming back and having to tell him, yep, everybody has 4 tires, Joey?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Joey was saying, anytime that you've got a car like that, you worry that you're going to screw it up. And 100%, as soon as I saw that we were the only car out there, I thought that we had screwed it up right there. It was early enough. We still had enough laps left where I felt like, okay, everyone, we're going to have to pit again. It's going to cycle through, but are we going to get back in the pack? And is something going to happen that's going to, change our day? Fortunately, it worked out to where we could, put the tires on pretty quickly afterwards. And, obviously with the car that strong and then 6-lap fresher tires, it worked out really well. I don't know how fun it was coming through there, but it was fun to watch.
That's always fun. Anytime you have new tires and everyone else doesn't, it's fun. It's when you have the old tires and everyone's got the new tires, it's not fun.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Services. A follow-up to that, even on the next stop, it sounded like there was some debate about whether or not to leave him out for those last 27 laps or whatever it was going to be. What made the final determination there? And Joey, did you think that given the strength of the car that you'd be able to get back to the lead 4 laps after the restart?
I felt sure that we had a car quick enough, and when we had tires on, I think we have Wilson 10 laps or so.
Yeah, we had 10 laps. They had 6.
Yeah, so I felt like with new tires we'll be able to drive up there pretty quick with the car we had. The worry of more than anything was a restart or someone crashing in front of you and you get in a crash. That would probably be the biggest worry. But I felt like once we got closer to front, when you have an advantage like that with new tires, you're going to blow right by them. So I felt confident in that. I'll let Wilson talk about the decision.
Yeah, so on the decision, it just, you always want to try to keep tires as late as you can here, just because if a caution comes out with 4 to go, you want to have tires to come and take them. You don't want to ever be in a situation where someone else has more tires left than you do. So, I was definitely on the fence, and I want to say that the deciding factor really was when I brought it up to Joey, and you could hear in his voice that he was doubting it. And at that point, it wasn't necessarily the doubt, but when he doubted that question or that decision, it was more of he has confidence in the car, and if we pit, he knows he's going to be able to get back up front, because I had already said we're probably going to be 20th at that point. So, the way that he responded to the question kind of gave me the confidence that no, if we put tires on this thing, he's confident that we're going to be able to get back to the front.
Yeah, it just felt like Algar was going to get me. If we ran any more laps, he was going to eventually pass me. I was trying to hold him off pretty hard. So I know eventually once one car passed me, more were going to pass me because we were going to have to clean air anymore. So that's why I was kind of voting for tires. But I followed it up with, you're smarter than me, you make the call. I didn't want to have that pressure on me. I drive, he calls the race.
Go to Jerry next, then Bob.
Jerry Jordan, KCON-Tires.net and PRN. Really important question here. You're a fan of Roseanne because now you have a trophy with her name on it.
I knew this question was going to come. I was thinking about it when I was here. I knew that was going to happen. And I feel like I've watched Roseanne a long time ago on like Nick at Night. That's what I remember.
He was watching the reruns. I think I watched it when it was live.
I was kind of hoping, when we pulled in here yesterday and I saw the Roseanne 300 banner over the walkway over there, and I was like, wow, that's the name of the race? That's cool. And then I was thinking about what the trophy would look like, and I was hoping I could be a big picture of her face, But it was a lot calmer than that, unfortunately. But still cool.
Bob Hockers, ESPN. We saw what the difference was between cars that had 6 laps of tires and fresh tires. So, Joey, are you happy that NASCAR made the decision tomorrow? Because else you would have been on tires that had about 6 laps on them with drivers starting 25th who had fresh.
NASCAR had to do something there. Last year we did not get through tech here before qualifying, and we started 37th. We were 11th 3 laps into the race. So you can imagine starting 25th on brand new tires. You're going to be racing for the lead 4 laps into the race if it takes that long. I don't think cars that make it through tech should have an advantage on the field. It's kind of backwards on what it should be. Even last year, it was kind of backwards of what it should be. It shouldn't have been like that. So I think NASCAR is going to come up with some good reasons. There are good ways to prevent this from happening again. I'm glad they did something, because it just, when you have cars like that are, I don't want to say purposely not going out there to qualify, but kind of, and, trying to, I guess, get that advantage. It's not what the fans come here to see, right? You come here to see your favorite driver qualify. When you tune in to watch qualifying, you tune in to watch 40 cars qualify, not 24 of them. And I think that's important that NASCAR does something to prevent that from happening. And they made it right this time. And I'm sure they'll come up with a good way to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Move over to Sal.
Actually, Justin Schuler, Speedway Media. I'm sitting in the seat. First off, congratulations on your win. It seems like you know your way around this track. You've never finished outside of the top 10. What kind of experience from this race, because it seems like you were in a few different situations, can you carry over to the Cup race for tomorrow?
There is some things that you're able to learn from running this race, and you only come out here once a year, so it's still kind of a challenging racetrack when you you don't get to come here but once a year. There's so many lanes on the racetrack. Restarts become crazy, things like that. The cars are very different. You know, the Cup car to an Xfinity car, very different. But there is even, I think we made a change today in the Cup car that we made on the Xfinity car, and we had the same result on it. So, we were really able to learn some things yesterday, even to help us, for our race tomorrow. And I think even, for me as a driver today, a couple things I'm able to transfer over. But I think just getting comfortable running up against the wall again, things like that, just kind of help you for the first couple laps in the Cup race.
Any more questions downstairs? Dominic.
Dominic Ottagona with the Racing Experts and ESPN Albuquerque. To kind of build on that last question, how much more of an advantage do you feel you have over the competitors who didn't run this race?
You have an advantage for the first 5 laps, probably, as you kind of know where the track is a little bit better. Maybe kind of know where the track went throughout the race. There's not a whole bunch. The cars that are fast yesterday or earlier in practice today are going to be very fast tomorrow. I don't think the advantage you get from running this race is so large that you're going to smoke everyone tomorrow because you had more laps. But it does allow you to feel a little bit more comfortable and moving up the racetrack sooner.
Here in the front.
I almost feel like Penske needs to write the unfair advantage too. What was the one point that you think made your car so dominant today?
I don't think there's one thing in motorsports anymore that makes a car fast. I think we'd say it all the time. We're stacking pennies. We're making small little changes here and there, and it's we're not looking for a lot anymore. You're looking for half a tenth most of the time, whether it's a good change or not. I think really what it comes down to is the people. And I think that's what gives you the advantage. The better the driver can work with the crew chief and understand the lingo and what you're trying to explain, the better the crew chief can work with his engineers and the changes from the guys making the changes, from everyone building the cars at the shop from when we start. All that has to work together, right? I mean, everyone's got somewhat of the same tools at this point. It's not like you can we have a huge advantage on a tool that everyone else doesn't have. It's just how you work your tools, and that's the big advantage I feel like that we've been able to have, at least for this weekend. And it's subject to change every week, right? It's how motorsports works.
Regardless, it was a hell of a drive.
Thank you.
Just to follow up on that, I mean, I would sum that whole thing up just by saying the unfair advantage these days is Team Penske. Right, that's a very simple way of saying it, and this very much has been several years in the building. Getting the Xfinity program back to where it needed to be. So everyone from all the different departments have really chipped in.
Yep.
Move over to Kathy.
Just a quick question on the passing the inspection and not passing the inspection. When NASCAR handed down the thing today that any cars that fail the inspection are going to have to come back in, on the green flag and do like a pass-through. Mm-hmm. If they up that to the Cup Series, do you think that that's going to be the determining factor to make sure that all the cars get through inspection?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a huge penalty. It's huge. And yeah, that's plenty to make sure everyone gets through and gets out on the racetrack. And, I think that's fine. I might regret saying this someday, but I think it's a good idea. I like that, and I'm amazed they were able to come up with something that good that quick. That was good. I'm glad they're on their game and they saw that. And I mean, we're all competitors, right? I'm not blaming anyone for doing what they did yesterday. We even thought about doing it. It makes sense, to play the game that way. It just doesn't feel right. That's why we didn't do it. But I understand why people would do that. I mean, if it's me, I would do it in a heartbeat. Todd got me not to do that. So, but the rule that coming down and making a pass through on the green, that's plenty to keep cars from doing that for sure.
Any more questions downstairs? And we'll move up to the terrace. Any questions up top?
Yes, we do. Stand by.
Yeah, one question for Brian Wilson, Wolfgang Monzer, Rennsport Press Agency from Germany. I have a following question. Joey said earlier this Xfinity cars are different than Cup cars. The race distance is not so long like the Cup race tomorrow. First of all, congratulations. He was leading, I think, more than 96.7% for the whole distance. And I have a question concerning your conversation with Joey's crew chief in Cup. Also, everything is different in Xfinity to Cup. Nevertheless, will you have a briefing with Joey's Cup crew chief to tell him some secrets concerning the strategy, what to do, that Joey has maybe such a dominant race tomorrow as well?
So I often have conversations with the Cup crew chiefs, depending on which driver I have. It'll start on, Tuesday or Wednesday at the shop, just trying to figure out what they're going to be working on, what direction they're going, and see if they've seen any trends or, a lot of times just the setup may not be the same, but the changes that you make and how you tune on the car, you'll end up with the same reaction or same response. And even if you're in a different range on spring or wedge or whatever it ends up being. So, we have a lot of conversations along those lines. But then during the weekend, especially at races where the tire is common between Cup and Xfinity, it comes down to talking about directions and trends that we see on tire pressures and where did it affect the car? Did we gain overall grip? And in this race, I'm sure they were paying attention to how did the strategy play out, and 2 laps into a run versus 6 laps into a run. How do you make the calls, and when do you want to come in, and when do you want to stay out?
Any more questions up top?
No further questions from the Terrace Press.
And we'll move back down to the bottom. Any more questions downstairs? All set? All right. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.